7. How to survive the end times. As Christians, we are not called to predict the exact time of the end of the world. However, in the Bible, Christ does give us certain clues as to what we can expect once things start to begin. It is easy to fear if we reflect on the horrors of those days, which will happen eventually and may even take place very soon. However, God is more than capable of getting us through these difficult years, and even says that He will not allow it to continue for too long, lest the faithful lose all hope and abandon Him. Still, the Lord warns us that faith will be very weak and potentially even non-existent. Why? Well, our mind and heart can only take so much pain and affliction before it begins to falter, thus becoming vulnerable to the enemy's gall, which whispers to us that God does not actually love or care about us. Trust me when I say from personal experience that there are certain pains that are impossible to endure without complete and utter faith in God's providence and love. The brain and soul become in a sense destroyed by a pain which is beyond words and description. And in the end times, with the martyrdoms and tortures which will happen, this will be the state of those Christians. I have experienced a similar pain, I believe, and so know the secret to overcoming this. Thus, I feel it is my duty to warn and humbly tell you on the most important thing to survive these events. That is, complete faith in the goodness and mercy of God. In the years leading up to the end times, we must take every opportunity to remind ourselves of His fatherly, tender, motherly, compassionate love. All the sins are nothing compared to His infinite mercy. And yet how tragically many in Christianity are tempted towards legalism. Sure, it is never good to be disobedient. However, disobedience is not what will result in the downfall of the end-of-time Christians, but rather a lack of faith in God's understanding. Christ also speaks about this in the Gospel, sternly rebuking the Pharisees who misinterpret God's commandments as a set of rules which one must follow unless they wish to be punished. However, this is not the case at all. The Sabbath was made for man, and not man for the Sabbath. King James Version, Mark 2:27-28. Meaning, He has made these laws and rules out of love for us to get closer to His beauty and grace. They are good for us, yet only when not taken to the extreme. Sadly, in Christianity this also happens, even under the guise of quote-unquote piety. Granted, again as I mentioned, many of these Christian rules are necessary and beneficial. Only it can easily be seen as a letter of the law, rather than the gentle, sweet, and friendly advice coming from our parent and friend who wishes us to be happy and healthy. I will give an example of what I speak. For instance, for those in the know, it is considered disrespectful to wash hands after getting holy oil on them. God blessed the oil, and so this practice is a way of honoring the grace stored in it. Only, God in no way is sitting up in heaven, ready to punish anyone who happens to wash their hands after being anointed. He would only do that if someone willingly and carelessly did such a thing, out of complete indifference towards the Church's religious practices. And this must be remembered, for if a mother who is taking care of her sick child needs to help them with some sort of medical treatment, it would be insane and very sinful not to thoroughly wash her hands, even if some holy oil happened to spill on them. She'd risk infection and serious illness if she did otherwise. Believe it or not, though this may seem like common sense, many people these days have OCD and are hypersensitive, and so are vulnerable towards extreme thoughts. The devil knows this and wishes to use it to the demise of many. Thus he tempts people to think of God as a ruthless punisher, who will allow our soul to be destroyed should we ever break even the smallest of rules. That is completely, 100%, 1,000,000%, 1,000,000,000,000% demonic. God is not like this at all. Even David ate the showbread when he was fleeing for his life, and that was considered very sinful. Yet the Lord, not me, but the Lord himself uses this as an example to make his point. For he saw the goodness in David's heart and knew he was desperate to survive, which is why he did this. Yes, David meant no dishonor towards God, despite breaking one of the Hebrew rules, and so God did not punish or even rebuke him. We should always remind ourselves of this in these end times, for the devil will do everything in his power to convince us otherwise, as Satan knows that we will never survive what is to come without this pure faith in God's mercy and compassion. Please go before God as one coming before our closest of friends, our confidant, our protector, the one who is always in our corner and looking out for us. This will give us the courage to overcome all adversity. Praise be to God for his infinite goodness and grace. No darkness, no pain, no sin, not even the end of the world can ever take away his love and affection for us. It is stronger than any evil power. Amen. The end.